Good evening, brothers and sisters. I wanted to give you a heads up about 11th edition. I mean, I'm sure you're all just as up to date with 11th edition as I am, but of course, like everything else here at Starcrunch, we're doing it a little bit different. The biggest difference is we're going to take a little bit. We're going to be a little bit behind the curve. I was stoked to go get the new 11th edition rulebook. It was the only thing I was going to buy for 11th edition. I love that they put the rulebook in a small paperback at a more affordable price. I thought that was a really nice touch. But I found out that like it's incomplete. Some of the rules, some of the core rules are locked behind the app, and then like there's already a FAQ and errata for it, and I'm like, really? Are we starting like that already? GW, I already got to go hunting for rules. GW, and no, I'm not doing that. I'm not. If I just wait a few weeks, Wikipedia will update, and it'll have all the rules in one place that are well organized and easy to read, and I will go deep on the game then. Farseer and I might kick the tires with it a little bit, but I won't. Like, I'm not going hard until Wikipedia updates. Also, like, isn't that something that Games Workshop should just do for me? Like, why do I gotta wait for this third party site to to collect the rules and organize them for me? Why can't they just do that? And then the other thing is, I will be waiting for War Organ and New Recruit to update too. They'll be my list builders. I'm not buying the GW app. I'm on Reddit, I'm on YouTube, and apparently people are already having problems with the app. Apparently the app already has some bugs, and I. I don't. I want to love Games Workshop so much. I want to love them, but I just can't. I just can't, and I want to support them, but like all the rules aren't in one place. The app's buggy. Whatever. I'll use the third party stuff. I will. I'm what you call poor folk. My money is precious. Don't try to sell me garbage. I want to play your game. I want to love you, but I'm not doing it. I'm not buying the new rule book. I'm not buying the app. I'm going to wait for Wikipedia. I'm going to wait for War Organ and New Recruit. There's a new one called War Scribe, and I just stumbled across it today. Some dude on Reddit was like, War Scribe updated, and I was like, what's War Scribe? And it's another army builder, and apparently it's ready for 11th edition now. So that's the first difference. That's the first change that we're making. We're not jumping right on the bandwagon. We're going to wait a little bit. The second thing, I haven't deep dove this too much because, again, I haven't deep dove the rules yet. But as I understand it, there are predetermined map formations to play the game. Like there's going to be like a map, and it's going to show you where you put your rules or where you put your terrain to play an official game, a Warhammer, and that's just stupid. I'm not doing any of that. And as I understand it, they're selling cardboard templates to be the footprints of the pre-configured maps, and I'm sorry, that's just stupid. That's so not 40K. So I think that the game is different now, and it's all about like the competitive scene being competitive, and the competitive people want the game to be balanced. And I'm sorry, children, but that's just not 40K. Balance is not necessary because there's no drama there. In my day, the game was very narrative, and I don't care if the game is balanced or not. War is not balanced. Life is not balanced. If you get on YouTube and you look at any of those like historical battle channels where like Napoleon fought Wellington and they got the blocks and they show you how the men moved and whatnot, those battles are never balanced. Somebody always has the advantage. Somebody's always, stuck in the mud or fighting uphill or whatever. And 40K can be the same thing. I take a lot of pride in making pretty 40K tables, and balance is never remotely on my mind. The first and foremost, I want to make something cool looking, and I never know what the mission is going to be, and I never really know who the armies are going to be. It's just about making that cool table first, and then something's going to happen there, and maybe it's an uphill road for somebody. Who cares? And sometimes you don't get to win. But it's 40K, man. Roll dice and tell stories. And, you competitive players, man, I don't. What you do does not sound like fun to me at all. Particularly with my third point, the third thing I want to get into as I sit here and chat is the way missions are done now. I'm not buying any of those decks of cards. I'm not. Again, I think they're dumb. I do. I think they're so dumb. I think the new mission structure feels far more like busy work than it does any kind of narrative story. And when they started advertising 11th edition to me, they were like, we're combining the competitive and the narrative. And then they bust out another deck of cards. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And I'm in a fortunate position because I have played for so long. I have many, many, many books that I can draw missions from. I also have a shelf full of old white doors. Like, we'll never run out of missions. And old missions are just more fun because they're narrative. They're telling a story. And the cards are just the businessman in action. That's money for the shareholders, man. Like, how much does it cost to make a deck of cards? You go buy a deck of cards, say you go buy your kid some flashcards. They're the same size as the GW cards, right? It's going to cost you a few bucks, like $5 tops, right? GW wants you to pay $35 for their boot-ass cards. And then what are those cards really? Those cards are like, well, if we do cards instead of books, we don't have to have writers, we don't have to have artists, we just got to write these stupid cards, and then we'll sell them to you over and over and over again throughout the edition. Hey, we're in the new season now. Buy another $35 deck of cards. I'm not doing it. I'm not. I have tons of old books. And I can't wait to get into it. Like, I can play the current edition. I can, enjoy the new rule set and still, not have to play boring, busy work missions. I don't want to. And so those are the three big changes that we're doing for the new edition. As I get ready for it, as I go into it, those are the talking points that I wanted to make sure that people who watch my channel anyway know we're not going away. It's coming. We're a little bit behind. To heck with predetermined terrain. To heck with the stupid cards. Tell stories with your dice. Have fun playing with your toys. I mean, don't let me tell you how to play toys, but dude, the tournaments seem so lame. Anyway, the future is bright, and I am really looking forward to my armies in the next edition. I have to use my inside voice because people are sleeping, but these are the places I usually draw missions from, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. We have a bunch of old rule books. These are exclusively mission books. Old chapter approves, and then I know I poo-pooed cards a little bit ago, but this is not the same thing. With the exception of the cards, though, the older books can all be found as PDF downloads online. And there's far more publications of this that you could find online with a Google search. They're out there, and there's tons of old school fun to be had if you're willing to do a little bit of work. Our house rules going into 11th edition will stay the same as 10th. I'm going to start here. We have, in our part of the universe, we have hills and we have cliffs. The hills are just terrain, they don't impede movement. The cliffs, however, are -1 going up or down. So if you got a guy up on the third step, that's actually a very long way. In our part of the universe, we also have roads. Our house rule for the roads is if you do your entire movement on the road, you don't leave the road at all, you get an extra inch. If you charge, you get an extra inch. If you advance, you get an extra inch. So if you have a unit that can advance and charge, you can get up to 3 extra inches on the road because the road is clear and it's easy to run on. That's the house rule for the roads. This comes from this company here, and it's a great buy. It cost me like $35 at the time, and it's gotten tons of use. Really good purchase. In our part of the universe, there are rivers. House rules for the rivers. If you're in the river, you are in cover. However, the river is always -2 to your move, -2 to your advance, -2 to your charge. The river is always difficult, but it's not always dangerous. We roll for that game to game. And then if it is dangerous, is it kind of dangerous or is it really dangerous? And we'll roll for that too. Kind of dangerous is if you advance or charge in it, every model who does it rolls a dice. On a 1, they take a mortal wound. If it's really dangerous, every model rolls a dice, and on a 1, you lose the whole model, even if it's a Land Raider. The difference is sometimes we put the river down on the snow table, and in that case, the river is anti-cover, and it does not give you a cover save anymore. It gives the person shooting at you +1 AP, and that represents you're not in the water ducking down, you're standing on the ice like a sitting duck. Those are the house rules for the river. The river's made by the same company that made the roads. The only complaint I have about the river and the roads is I should have bought 2 of them, each of them. They're such good pieces of kit. They really improve your table, give you some drama on that table. When we are playing, when a vehicle gets down to its final wound, when it is wrecked, we flip it over, and now it is terrain. Unless the vehicle has deadly demise and it blows up. If it blows up, we put a crater down where it was to represent that the vehicle was there, but there was an explosion, and now this remains. And it makes the table interactive. The table changes as the game goes on. Sometimes you have a lot of explosions that leads to a lot of craters. When I started setting this up, I did not think this would be so much. But there's a lot here. Every army you see on the channel is represented here except the Drukhari. And some armies are further along than others. I guess we should start with the Refuser. The Refuser has 2 armies. And it's the Death Guard and it's the Nurgle Demons. So she's my sweet girl, right? And she started painting models because she's my sweet girl and was sharing my hobby with me, and it was great. And then we played some games, and that was great. But then, like, Games Workshop started happening to her, where, like, every time it was time to play a game, she had to learn new rules. Every time it was time to play a game, something had been taken away from her. And she got really just over it and just didn't want to play anymore. However, she's discovered one-page rules since then, and so we're going to try to play some one-page rules. You can expect that on the channel sometime soon. Well, if it's cool to film it. Like, if it's just something she and I are doing, you know, we'll figure that out. But if it looks good on camera, I'll put it on the channel. And then I'll be happy to be supporting one-page rules because, you know, they're the little guy, and I think that's cool. However, I will field these armies in 11th edition. I have not paid any attention to what's going on with Death Guard or Nurgle Demons in 11th edition. And as far as what's coming for them, nothing. If Honey doesn't paint anymore, what we got is what we got. We got roughly 1,500 points of Demons and 1,500 points of Death Guard. And I know they don't ally together like they used to. Like, there's, like, restrictions on allying them. But we'll house rule that to get them on the table. You probably won't see too much of them. You probably won't see much that's new. Now, the Tyranids are an army that the Farseer and I are doing together. And we're both pretty stoked about. We already have it up to 1,200 points. And I currently have the Winged Hive Tyrant on my hobby desk. That'll take it up to 14. We have about 3,000 points all day. Both of us have fallen in love with the Tyranids. I love the Subterranean Assault. I love jumping out of the ground and going, surprise! But we will see a lot more Tyranids coming up. I can't imagine it'll be long before we get them up to 2,000 points because we're both into it. You don't see much of my Astra Cartographica. This is my rogue trader, Captain Wallenberg, and it's hard to put him on the table. His crew is kind of all spread out, but I do have 3 squads of Imperial Navy breachers that are all on cups, that are all in some state of getting done. And I would like to put together 500 points of just his crew, just his own little thing. I am just a colossal fan of Firefly and Farscape and anything where some dude's got a really cool jacket and a spaceship. That's the stuff for me. And Wallenberg's my own fun little crew. And it kind of drives me crazy that he's so hard to field in 40K. And the rules I use for him, I use the, I can never remember the name, but the rogue trader with the can opener for a leg. I use her rules for him. But then getting like other units with him is not so easy, and he'll never be optimal for 40k. However, if I ever have any War Surge friends, he comes alive in War Surge. I love me some War Surge, and sooner or later, I'm going to have a War Surge friend, and then this channel is going to see a ton of War Surge. It's a fantastic game. Yes, sisters represent. The sisters don't ever make it to the channel. They're never on the channel because they're not even close to done. What I have is I have her. I have Celestine, who's not done and hardly started. I have a box of, sacrosanct, and that's it. That's all I have for sisters. They may eventually, sooner or later, you may see some sisters on the channel, but it'll probably be closer to 12th edition. As much as I hate to say it, the Eldar are like the stars of our channel. The Farseer's got roughly 5,000 points of Eldar done. He's got like 4 Wave Serpents, the Falcon, the Plane. He's got a Wraith Knight that he hates the paint job on, and he never puts on the table, but it's really not that bad. And I expect more, but he's also like, he's the busiest dude in the world. And the fact that he still shows up for games amazes me. But you can expect lots of Eldar for 11th edition. I don't know if you'll see anything that's new. Lately, he's loved the Avatar of Cain and the Wraith Lords and the Wraith Host. That's his jam. But you'll see more Eldar than anything else on our channel. And, I'm kind of sorry about that because I kind of hate the Eldar. But that's just the way it is. I have roughly 1,000 points of orcs done. And the reason it takes so long to get the orcs done is because orcs are hard to paint. They just are. But I would like to go hard on orcs. Currently, I have another battle wagon with Grozskull and Makari and 3 Mega Knobs. And that's all in the almost done phase. Makari is done. Grozskull needs highlights. And those Mega Knobs need quite a bit of work yet. But I have a battle wagon for them all. And that will be next for orcs. And I want to do it sooner rather than later. But then again, orcs are hard. But once we get Grozskull, the Mega Knobs, the battle wagon, we'll be up to about 1,500 points of orcs. And everybody likes orcs. Another big project I really want to get to is I have a Stampa. There is a Stampa in this house. And apparently a Stampa is only 600 points now. And also a Stampa, that's just cool. It's just cool to have a Stampa. And I would love to get like a free weekend that was like, nobody needed me. I didn't have to work. And I could just put my head down and like put 48 hours into a Stampa. I would love that. But, I'd also like bags of money to rain out of the sky and hit me on the head, right? So I have Greyfax. I have an Assassinorium. And then I have a box of Inquisitor agents that I haven't opened yet. But I also have just a bunch of miscellaneous models that could be inquisitorial agents. And I kind of don't know what I'm doing with my Imperial agents right now. But I do have them. They do exist. I love the Assassinorium. And I wish I could get more out of that. What'll happen is I'll end up allying the Imperial agents with the Imperial Knights and end up having a big list that way. But currently, they're pretty up in the air. I kind of don't know what I'm doing with them. But I do think that it's really fun that they exist. I know that the internet was very upset that currently, for some reason, they're not playable. Their detachment points don't work out somehow. Just fudge that at home. House rules, dude. House rules. I hate the Custodes almost as much as I hate the Eldar. But the Farseer, he's up to 1,000 points of Custodes. And that's enough, man. I don't need any more Custodes in my life. But there's 1,000 points of Custodes. I don't know what he has up there. I don't even know if he has any more to paint, which might work out for me. What is the future of the Custodes? I don't know. But there's 1,000 points of them, and he loves them. So maybe they need to face Nurgle. Maybe that's next for them. My very first 40k love was the Tau. I fell in love with them playing Dawn of War 1, and that really got me into the game. And they were my first army, And I decided, right out of the box, the first decision I made in 40K was my Tau were red, yellow, white, and black. And I didn't know, as somebody who'd never painted a model before, how hard that was going to be. And so even though I have more Tau models than anything, my Tau army is it's probably like 1,000 points altogether. And it's super hodgepodge. And however, I have enough individual models to make a 2,000 point army of infantry and tanks, a 2,000 point army of battle suits, and a 2,000 point army of crew. And in a perfect world where I could just stay home all day and work on this stuff, I'd put my head down on all of that. I would like to go hard on Tau this edition, because aside from anything else, I love the way my Tau look. And I would love to have just a table full of Tau in my deep yellow and red. And also, I have 3 hammerheads that I could put on the table if I could get them finished. And but like I could do 3 different Tau armies though, and then combine them for a 6,000 point force, and it's exciting. But I have 60 fire warriors, and I have more pathfinders than I can legally field. I have a piranha. I have 3 hammerheads. None of it's done. And then I have all the battle suits except for the Twin Lance, the new one. I haven't gotten that yet, but it's neither here nor there. I don't need it. And then I have a couple of the Crew starter boxes that they came out. They have like 40 Crew in each one and a Crew Tox. And I have a bunch of the characters. I have a lot of Crew. It's just, there's so much work to be done here. But if I was to talk about what I wanted to go hard on in 11th edition, Tower at the top of that list. So Sir Helmet's cool, and I love him, but he'll be really cooler when I get the 4 armigers on the shelf I have done. And they're not going to be hard to get done. They're already base coated. But I moved like a year ago, but I haven't set my airbrush up yet. I don't know where I'm doing it. I don't have a good window for it, but I need to get my airbrush set up because I want the armigers to match his color scheme. And his color scheme was, highlights from this angle, and it was Mephiston red, then Blood red, and then Wild Rider red, and in angles coming, first it was all over, and then it was like here, and then it was from the top. And I would like to do the same with the armigers, but I got to get my airbrush set up. But that's like a weekend project. If I could just get free for a weekend, I could get that done. And then all of a sudden my night list is almost 1,000 points. And then I take that night list that's almost 1,000 points, throw 1,500 points of assassins on it, and now we're talking. And then I suppose I could take some Star Hunters and call them Death Watch and round out the list that way. But anyway, possibilities. And speaking of the Star Hunters, I'm fairly certain everybody's going to Legends. The only thing that's not in Legends yet are some of the tanks and Tactical Marines and Devastators, and I'm fairly certain they're going to Legends. And at this point, I kind of don't mind. What I really want is I want them to get, like, when they put out the new Space Marine Codex, I would love it if they put out, like, a Legends Codex next to it and made it good, Like, when things go to Legends, their rules tend to be kind of bad. And I would just love... I don't mind playing Legends. I'm not going to tournaments. I'm fine with Legends rules. I'd like it if the Legends rules were good. Just like rules for my complete army, my old army, no Primaris in it. Send it to Legends, but make the rules all right. I still have, almost 2,000 points Star Hunters to paint. And I won't ever stop painting them because I love them. They're my boys. I got a Storm Raven. I have a Venerable. I have one of the old metal Venerable Dreadnoughts that I call the Chapter Master. He's not done. I'll paint Star Hunters for joy. I don't know how they're going to field in the future. I know that Space Marines are going to get their 11th edition Codex early because they're Space Marines and they always do. But we'll see. We'll see where they end up. I will never stop loving them. That's what I have to say about it. This exists in the house. There's also like 2 units like these guys in the house, and there's one more of these somewhere in the house. And maybe someday, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. This is not a priority. I love her though. That's a great model. And maybe we got really gun-ho on Tyranids recently. Maybe. Maybe. Did I mention the Drukhari? The Drukhari are not represented here. But the Farseer's got like roughly 1,000 points of Drukhari. And they're not doing great. He fields them with his Yunari sometimes. But like, something happened, some new codex came out, and a lot of how he ran his Drukhari stopped being a thing. And he kind of hasn't loved it since. And so, although the Drukhari exist in our channel, I think we probably will only see them as Yunari. And what is their future? I don't know if they have much of one. Because I think that if the Farseer is doing work, he's probably going to want to work on his Eldar and his Custodes. I don't know how much time and love he's going to have for the Drukhari. But they do exist. And last is the Chaos Space Marines, where currently I have 2 units of cultists. I have 100 points of Chaos Space Marines. But I have some stuff coming for them. And if I was going to talk about what I thought I was going to go deepest into for 11th edition, I think it might be Chaos. I know I'm way further along on other armies, but Chaos needs to be represented on our channel better than it is now. And I have a good idea for this one. This is going to be, it won't be an optimal force. It won't be meta. You won't take it to a tournament, but it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. But anyway, that is my Starcrunch is going to 11th edition video. And we're looking forward to it. And it's going to be fun, although we're going to do it our own way, because that's what we do here. And internet, tell me about it. You got any house rules you want to share? Do you have any special plans for 11th edition? Are you rocking the GW boat in any way? Let me know. But yeah, you got more Starcrunch coming. We will be off to a slow start for 11th edition, but it's going to happen. Have a good night, everybody. Dun dun dun. Bonus content. Here's some bonus content for you. Mordheim is also on the way. These are the beginning of my Mootlanders. And I think I'm going to have a hard time because the Refuser is going to be the undead, the vampires. And the Farseer is going to be the vampire hunters. And I'm going to be the Mootlanders. And I have a feeling I'm going to get 8. But also, when I was buying all this, I got a bunch of halflings. And then, like some dude was, like, selling his models for, like, dirt cheap. And so I picked him up, you know. And he had a bunch of halflings. And he had a bunch of, like catapults and ballistas and, like, a bunch of kooky stuff. And so, like, again, if I ever get a War Surge friend, there's a potential for, like, a whole halfling army there. But currently, I'm working on Mootlanders for Mordheim. Mordheim is, you know, I'm waiting on both the Farseer and the Refuser to get their warbands done. So it might be, you know, 1,000 years. But I need 20 of these guys to have enough models to field a full Mootlander warband. I don't know who my leaders are going to be. I don't know who's going to be who. I'm just painting halflings when I got time to paint halflings. But expect some Mordheim. Expect some Mordheim someday.